Okay, Mo, it's I Pick the Topic Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
First up, female refs in the NFL. Your thoughts?
I'm okay with it. Look, as long as there's more people who can get the call right and keep up with the pace of play and properly officiate the game, I don't care what they are, men or women. I think there needs to be more people officiating NFL games. I think to have 7 mostly old men trying to keep up with 22 players who are moving faster than at any point in the history of the NFL, with plays being extended longer, with the ball being thrown deeper, with offenses more complex. I think more eyes need to be on the field officiating games. And if those eyes are attached to a female's head, fine by me. I want good eyes, and I want people who can keep up with the pace of play. And unfortunately, in the NFL, many of the men who are officiating games, I don't think they see very well, and they don't move very fast because they're old. So as long as they're not old ladies officiating games, I'm okay with it.
Okay, sources say that Jim Tressel was watching the Browns camp this morning. What are the chances Tressel joins the NFL?
I've got to think he is somewhat radioactive at the major college level. You hire Jim Tressel, and Jim's a great football coach, it's a desperation move. And so it seems to be the next natural fit would be on the staff, either on a coaching staff or in a personnel department for a National Football League team. And, Jim Tressel has a great football pedigree, great football mind, and so in the NFL, that's all that matters. However, I would not ask Jim Tressel what he's doing at Cleveland Browns training camp, because he'll probably just lie to you anyway.
Okay, I hate to say this, but the red season is probably over.
Yes.
The most important thing is to finish over 500, right?
No, the most important thing is to find a place for Yonder Alonso, get an idea of what he can do offensively and defensively, is to get some time for Devin Mesoraco at the major league level. It's to feel better about your young pitchers heading into next year. It's to make a decision about what Aroldis Chapman is going to do. It's to get a good, solid look at Dave Sapelt and Todd Frazier. It's to give Juan Francisco a chance to show that he's not overmatched by major league pitching. It's a chance to have a better idea of what you're going to work with next year, what you're going to work with in the offseason, which parts might be expendable, which parts are going to be cornerstones. And then as we get to the end of the year and get into the offseason, question number 1 is about the long-term future of Joey Votto. Does this team come to the conclusion that A, Votto beyond 2013, a Reds uniform is not a possibility, and B, they can get something sufficient in return for him that would help them beyond 2013? Obviously, those are questions that will be asked after September the 28th. In the interim, let's find out more about young players on this team and hopefully Dusty Baker plays them on a pretty much day in and day out basis.
The Bengals cut Tank Johnson. Is that really a big deal?
If you're Tank Johnson, it is. If you're me, no. I'm not totally stunned. The Bengals are kind of remaking the defensive line. There's a lot of young guys there. Tank Johnson's been here for a couple of years, and I can't think of one defining moment other than he was somewhat lovable on Hard Knocks, which I miss, by the way. Other than that, Tank Johnson, I've heard people talk about his leadership qualities and things like that. Tank Johnson was very pedestrian on that defensive line. A part, I guess, of a 2009 defense that was really, really good. But as far as anything that stood out from Tank Johnson, I'd really, really have to think long and hard before I could come up with anything.
Okay, last question. You're going to the Western and Southern Open tomorrow.
Yes!
What do you like most about the matches?
It's seeing the world class. I like seeing the best of the best, and the great thing about the Western and Southern Open, and I'm happy it's all condensed in 1 week this year, the women and the men, you get a chance to see some of the best ever. Look, Roger Federer, and I'm not the world's biggest tennis guy, might be the greatest player of all time. That's obviously debatable. Rafael Nadal is obviously a world-class tennis player, and you see some of the women that come through here. Maria Sharapova, Caroline Wozniacki hasn't won a major yet. It's a really good time if you just love tennis, and I've become a bigger and bigger tennis fan over the last 2 or 3 years, simply because I've really tried to play it and I enjoy it. But it's also just the atmosphere. And I hate to sound like a commercial for the Western and Southern Open. You got the bar, you got the food court, you have incredible people watching. I'm going tomorrow afternoon, and I cannot wait. I always go in the middle of the week during the day, and it's always a good time. If you haven't been to Mason for the Western and Southern Open, even if you're not a huge tennis guy, give it a try. It's a good time. Email me, right? Mo at ESPN1530.com, or shoot me a tweet, damn it, at Mo Egger 1530.